Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be doing the pre-release for the new character coming in patch 4.4 of Genshin Impact XIANYUN. I'll be going over her entire kit and seeing how you would like to build her, what teams you would like to pair her up with, and so much more. Now this pre-release should release by the time the live stream has happened, but until the official patch has released, these are still considered leaks. So if you don't like looking at leaks, then I recommend not watching this video, but if you don't mind leaks, then take everything as subject to change, because until the official patch releases, there is still that possibility of Shaman receiving changes to her kit, so definitely keep that in mind. Now let's get right into it, starting with her base stats. Her base HP is 10,409, her base attack is 335, her base defense is 573, and her ascension stat is attack percentage at 28.8%. Now attack percent will definitely come into play on how you would like to build the stats for her kit. So then moving on to her skill set, her normal attack, World of Wind and Flower. It's just a regular normal charge and plunging attack, considering that she is a catalyst user. However, her plunging attack damage will come into play depending on how you would like to use her. Moving on to her elemental skill, White Clouds at Dawn. Now this is a whole lot of tags, but basically this is the summary of what her elemental skill does. Her elemental skill has 3 activations. Each activation makes her do a leap into the air, and each time you leap, the more higher you go. And the more higher you are, every time you activate a plunging attack, it makes Xianwen does his special animated plunging attack that deals a whole lot of damage, simulating a crane going down to nearby enemies, dealing AoE Anemo damage. The simulated crane is called Drift Cloud Wave. The skill damage when you activate the skill when she is leaping into the air at level 9 deals 42% damage, and then her Drift Cloud Wave per stack every time you leap into the air. The first leap deals 197, then the second leap will deal 251, and the third leap deals 573 damage, which is a whole lot. However, even though it deals very good damage, the only caveat is that it has a cooldown of 12 seconds, meaning you aren't really going to use this much consistent with her, basically taking away the consistent damage capacity that she could have had. However, it's still a very good skill. It is one where you can utilize it to where you could put her on 4-piece VV and basically swirl elements that are applied on the current enemies that you're plunging on. But nonetheless, deals good damage, just sucks that it has a 12-second cooldown. But the main bulk of her kit, if you are planning to get her at C0, comes from her elemental burst called Stars Gather at Dusk. Now what her elemental burst does is that when you activate it, it deals skill damage of 183%, and then she spawns this mechanism right next to your character called Star Wicker, where it follows you around, and for the duration of the elemental burst, your characters on field will have their jumping ability increase, allowing you to deal very high plunges. And every time you deal a plunge, it deals AoE Anemo damage if you still have these stacks called Adeptal Assistance that you gain when activating the elemental burst. When you activate the elemental burst, you'll start with 8 stacks of Adeptal Assistance, allowing you to deal 8 total plunges that takes effect of the Star Wicker damage from your elemental burst. However, this does have a more higher effect once we get into her passives. Also, while you have these Adeptal Assistance stacks, her elemental burst will continuously heal your on-field character by a pretty good amount. The Star Wicker damage is 66.6 at level 9, which isn't that great, but I guess is a side of damage, I guess. The healing is pretty nice, continuous healing, same as well. Duration lasts for 16 seconds, which is a pretty good amount of time. The cooldown is 18 seconds, which is not that long from the duration, and the energy cost is at 70, which is not that pretty high. And now moving on to her passives, her first one, Gale Feather Pursuit. Each opponent hit by Drift Cloud Waves, which is the enhanced plunging attack from her elemental skill, will grant all nearby party members 1 stack of Storm Pinyon for 20 seconds, max 4 stacks. These will cause the character's plunging attack crit rate to increase by 4 to 6 to 8 to a total of 10% crit rate respectively. Each Storm Pinyon created by hitting an opponent has an independent duration. Now this is actually a pretty good passive because it gives you 10% extra crit rate, basically allowing any character that you use when activating her elemental burst to utilize the crit rate to deal consistent damage from utilizing plunging attacks. Moving on to her second passive, which is the biggest one that affects the usage of her elemental burst, called Consider the Adeptus in her realm. When the Star Wicker created by CHARCATER at dusk has a death toll stacks, nearby active characters' plunging attack shockwave damage will be increased by 180% of Shinwen's attack. The maximum damage increase that can be achieved this way is 9,000. Each plunging attack shockwave damage instance can only apply this increased damage effect to a single opponent. Each character can trigger this effect once every 0.4 seconds. Now this is a pretty good passive when increasing the plunging attack damage that she gives to any character utilizing the enhanced jumping ability from her elemental burst. The only thing that sucks is that it can only be applied to one enemy, but if you are fighting against one singular enemy, it is still pretty good. And then her last one, Crane Form, increases gliding speed for your party members by 15%. And then quickly moving through her constellations, her first one, her elemental skill gains 1 additional charge. It'll allow Shinwen to deal 2 enhanced plunging attacks from her skill. Her second constellation, Aloof from the World. After pressing her elemental skill, Shinwen's attack will be increased by 20% for 15 seconds. Additionally, the effects of the passive talent, Consider the Adeptus in her own realm, will be enhanced, where this increases the plunging attack shockwave damage to 360% of Shinwen's attack, where the maximum damage achieved this way is 18,000, which basically allows your characters to deal even more plunging attack damage based on Shinwen's attack. Her C4, after using her elemental skill 1 to 3 times during one of her elemental skill, when the enhanced plunging attack is unleashed during that instance and hits an opponent, it will heal all nearby party members for 50 to all the way to 150% of Shinwen's attack, which is actually a pretty good chunk of health. This effect can be triggered once every 5 seconds. A pretty nice constellation, but not really one you really want to focus on getting. Just makes her a more consistent healer, I guess. And then her C6, after Shinwen uses 1 to 3 leaps from her elemental skill, the crit damage of a drift cloud wave created in this instance will be increased by 15 to 35 to 70% crit damage. Within 16 seconds after Shinwen has used an elemental skill, the enhanced plunging attack will not enter cooldown. This effect can be cancelled once she has used White Claws at dawn 8 times, which allows Shinwen to use her enhanced plunging attack that deals a whole lot of damage for a total of 8 times with increased crit damage, which is a very good C6, allowing her to basically be a main DPS. Now it is a C6, a very nice C6. However, if you would like her to be a plunge attack damage buffer / healer type of character, then you can stick with Z0. But if you would like her to be more of a damage dealer, then you can go for more constellations, even though it's not worth it. But again, it is pretty nice, I guess. And after looking at her skill set and constellations, how would you like to build Shinwen? There's only really one good way to build her, and that is putting her on VV set. Basically, any Anemo support that you use will like to be on this set, because considering that her damage capacity is only limited to 1 use from her elemental skill, it is better to use it either from the skill or the proc and damage capacity from her elemental burst to get the elemental resistance shred. I highly don't recommend the new healing bonus set, even though some people say it is catered towards her, but the fact that that set has a stupid limited condition where you have to wait 6 seconds in order to get the damage buff, it's really not worth it. If you would like her to be more of a healer, then you can go for healing bonus sets, or if you would like her to basically increase her healing and damage capacity from her skill, then you can give her 2-piece attack and 2-piece healing bonus, or 2-piece attack and 2-piece attack. But I will highly recommend putting her on 4-piece VV, and for her substats, mainly stick with attack percent, considering that's the main bulk of her scaling. However, if you would like her to deal a little bit more damage, then you can go for crit, but I really don't recommend it unless you are going for C6, which does allow her to be a main DPS, which is what I'm going to do. But typically as Z0, you are going to want to go for attack percent and energy recharge to get her elemental burst consistently. And lastly, moving on to her signature 5-star that she will be getting, called Crane's Echoing Call. It's a catalyst, meaning she is a catalyst user. The base attack is 741, which is the highest base attack that you can get, with the substat being attack percent at 16.5%, which is not bad considering that she is getting a high base attack. The passive of the weapon, when the equipping character hits an opponent with a plunging attack, all nearby party members' plunging attack deals 28% increased damage for 20 seconds. When other nearby party members hit opponents with plunging attacks, they will restore 2.5 energy to the equipping character. Energy can be restored this way every 0.7 seconds. Okay, so her passive of the weapon is actually pretty good considering that it lasts for 20 seconds, which is basically the entire duration of her elemental the burst, which will be very good in increasing not only hers but also basically everyone else's plunging attack damage, which will definitely be useful in utilizing the shockwave damage boost that you get from her passives. So overall, I would say this is a very good weapon for her, but as a catalyst in terms of utilizing with other characters, it's not really a useful one, but definitely useful in Shenwen's case. And so with that, what kind of teams and characters do you want to pair up with? There really isn't that many choices. The only characters that you will mainly like to use with her are characters that have elemental infusion. And these characters can be like Zhao, who does specialize in dealing increased plunging attacks, which is going to be the main priority character that you would like to pair Shenwen with. But other than that, you can use Hu Tao, any other catalyst user that basically have elemental infusion. You can use anyone really, but typically you would like to use characters that have increased damage that applies to their normal attack skill set, which increases their plunging attack as well. Where again, in Xiao's case, she would be a good support because not only does she increase plunging attack, she also heals as well, where Xiao decreases his health consistently, where Shenwen will be able to step in and heal him back up. Even though typically you like to use Bennett with him, and Bennett is also a healer, so Shenwen doesn't really have a much needed case in that role. However, if you would like to use Bennett on like your second team, then she can definitely step in. But nonetheless, learning how her skill set works, I think she is a pretty okay character, not really one you definitely want to go for. I think she's a niche character that kind of brings out a playstyle that doesn't really get played a lot in terms of utilizing your character's plunging attack damage. But nonetheless, I think it can be fun utilizing her with other characters that you typically won't do plunging attacks like Hu Tao and other elemental infusion characters. But yeah, I think she's a pretty okay character, pretty okay healer, but I think as a main DPS, obviously at C6, she is going to be pretty busted. And that is my pre-release on Shenwen. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below of what you guys think of Shenwen. I really wish they could have made her do something more instead of just sticking with the niche of increasing plunging attack damage. But nonetheless, I think she could be a fun character to use. And that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, then definitely subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video to support it. Check out my Twitch if you want to check out my live streams. The link will be in the description below. That's it for today, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.